Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Nail, the AGL Nail, Namekian's category lead of Key +3, 160%, greatly raises attack and defense on a super attack, and beneficiary of a recent EZA. I think Nail, actually, and you'll notice from my thumbnail, Nail, that I included his defense in it. And it's very few times that I do that, and that's because I think Nail, first off, is a defensive unit. Obviously requires the Namekians to be that unit, but is a really cool unit, like just in terms of functionality. Only shame with Nail is that he is a little bit conditional, but he is really cool. So I think defensively he's great with actually minimal effort, and then I think obviously, yeah, offensively very conditional, but attack and defense 150%, launches an additional attack, there's a great chance of becoming a super, gets an additional 150% attack and defense for 3 turns from his entry, gets an additional 150% attack and defense and damage reduction of 30 to 77% when there is another Namekian's category ally on the team. So realistically this means Piccolo. It says Namekians, but it means Piccolo. Fortunately, Piccolo Power Awakening is still really solid. Physical Piccolo has aged a little bit, but we'll talk about how this Nail could revive him a little bit. But yeah, so it means a Piccolo, basically. All allies, Key +2, attack and defense of 50% when there's an ally whose name includes Piccolo on the team. So this is really cool, because what this means is that if you have a Piccolo on the team, not only does Nail become defensively amazing, but he also becomes a great support, and it's actually perfect how he functions for a lot of Piccolo units. The only thing is, unfortunately, the Demon King Piccolo or the Majuniors and things like that do not count, so it has to just be pure Piccolos. I believe Piccolo Power Awakening does trigger it though, so that's pretty cool. He launches an additional super attack, and all attacks become critical hits when there's a Wicked Bloodline or Planet Namek Saga category enemy. Now this is a conditional part, and this is what I mean by offense. So I'm going to put it straight to you. With Nail, his attack stats, even with all of his boosts active and everything, his attack stats are solid, and he can fire off like 4 of them. Like you'll see in this video, you know, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 3, 4 times. But realistically speaking, he's all about the defense. He can have really high defense. We're talking 2.4 million, 2.5 million. He has 30% damage reduction on top of that. And if you build him into full additionals and evasion, then he can have a pretty decent chunk of evasion as well. It can be tempting to build him into crit for moments where he's not facing Wicked Bloodlines. When he's not facing Wicked Bloodlines, anticipate that he's just a purely defensive tanky unit, and you'll kind of accept your life a lot better. Nail's offense can be completely tied to Wicked Bloodlines, and then what you can do is you can build him and manifest him entirely for defense. So defensive equip, additionals, primary, and then evasion or secondary, and you can end up in a situation where you have like 20 additional, maybe 18 evasion, and then he's also obviously will have the defensive equips. And then you're looking good. Then you're looking really good. Nails then looking really solid, 20% evasion rate to kind of throw onto that scaling damage reduction. Decent shot at getting a 3rd or 4th super off, depending on if you're facing Wicked Bloodlines. So I think overall, that feels right to me for Nail. Now Nail is just really good. There's not a lot really to complain about him. There's only 2 things that I do not like about Nail. So firstly, he is on 3 categories. I know it makes sense because he's not a character that was around a lot, but he's on 3 categories. So you have to accept that for what it is. Unfortunately, Connected Hope, Namekians, Planet Namek Saga, that's as good as it gets. Not really able to be on worthy rivals as he wasn't Goku's rival, even though obviously he fuses into Piccolo. And then there's not really anything else. You could maybe argue Space Traveling Warrior, but the Namekians weren't proven to Space Travel at that point. The thing is that's it. That's his biggest, outside of my other one, which is his Lynx. But that is his biggest issue that he has. It's just ultimately he, for the lack of a better term, is tied to 3 categories. Now, Dynamic Socket just got a bunch of buffs, which does help out there. Connected Hope has Tech Gogeta as a lead, which helps out there. And then obviously Namekians is, well, it's a dead category. They just never buff it enough to make it relevant. But we do actually have 4 good units now, kind of, with Physical Piccolo, Tech Piccolo, Inst Piccolo Jr., and this Nail. We're getting there. If we could just get 2 more relevant units in the next, like, 3 months, the Namekians could be good before the 10th anniversary. Ultimately, with Nail, because of the fact that he's Namekian, and Namekians as his link, Hero as his link, you know, it's just very hard to come by. With all that being said, I think his EZA was really good. I think they could have dialed it up just a tiny smidgen more offensively. I know they were really scared because, you know, the next time they bring out a Wicked Bloodlines event, Nail's gonna be, you know, really on that. So I understand they were a little bit scared to give a unit like 4 rounds of guaranteed, you know, 20 million crits that scale upwards. But I think, you know, considering how much you already tied to Wicked Bloodlines, you could have either just tied it to Wicked Bloodlines, or you could have, like, made it go away, in a sense, or something, you know, like, yeah, I just think they could have maybe done that. And then I think they could have made the damage reduction kick in at 40%, scaling up to 80%. But all in all, Nail's really cool. He's really solid, really good unit, and is a ton of fun to use, which for me is half the battle won. He also actually really helps out Piccolo units. I know it sounds really weird, but Piccolo units needed a bit of help, like Power Awakening Piccolo, our best Piccolo by a country mile. Nah, Piccolo and Super Saiyan Vegeta, you know, like as a unit on the Namekians, pretty cool. Can link up pretty nicely with Nail. Yeah, only really missing Cold Judgment. Really cool kind of combo that you can use on the Namekians. Physical Piccolo, Piccolo Power Awakening. Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking better. I think it's looking a lot better. So yeah, all in all, I think Nail is really good. I think they pretty much hit the mark. I'd say if I had to give them a grade, probably 90%. I think they could have done a tiny bit of tweaking, but I think ultimately they did Nail good. Like, I really like Nail. I think he's really cool. I always liked him when he first came out. I thought he was a really fun situational unit, and he continues to be that. If you have a Red Zone challenge in future, or a Wicked Bloodlines challenge, Nail's the guy. And yeah, he looks really good now. So really happy with how he is doing.